Hello world, my name is Tim Ruswick, and today I want to tell you about the delay of my Kickstarter for my physical card game, Murder Bunny. So I want to kind of preface this and kind of tell you a little bit about what happened and all the stuff going, but I also want to share some tips and tricks with you about Kickstarter and about some of the things that I've learned so far. So first up, if you don't know, Murder Bunnies is the name of my game. This is a spin-off of Battleborn, which is still in production, my game Battleborn Tactics. Links to Battleborn Tactics on Steam and the link to the pre-release Kickstarter page are down in the description. Check those out if you're interested. But Murder Bunnies is a spin-off of Battleborn because Murder Bunnies are a faction in Battleborn Tactics, and that's how a lot of these characters came to be, right? They were designed for Battleborn, and then in my burnout phase, when I was just working a bunch of stuff offline, I ended up making a card game with my girlfriend, and it was fun, and we had a lot of fun, and we turned it into something bigger than it is, and we're going to do a Kickstarter to get it printed and all that stuff. Anyway, that's the fun of it. But it's crazy because Kickstarter, you think of it as the way to raise money to get to your game launch, right? Like, that's how most people look at it. And that's how I looked at it, even though, like, literally in my marketing company, I've helped people with their Kickstarters. I've helped people put together press lists. I've helped people do this kind of stuff, but I've never run one by myself, right? So I've talked to a bunch of people about it, various like YouTubers and friends of mine and stuff, and people that have run Kickstarters, and got a bunch of tips, and I was like, okay, we could do this. And so Kickstarter was supposed to launch today, April 5th, Easter Monday. The idea being that, hey, we're making Murder Bunnies. We could launch near Easter, right? And it'd be funny and everybody would laugh. And, you know, and I wanted to make that happen. But I got a little ahead of myself there. And I got ahead of myself there by treating Kickstarter, once again, as a way to raise money to get to the launch of the game. Turns out Kickstarter is pretty much like a launch of your game. It's exactly that. Like, you got 30 days to like make all the money that you're gonna make to get this game made, and that's pretty much what a game launch is on Steam. You make most of your money in your first 30 days. You make most of your money in the first week on Steam, right? And then everything else is fractions compared to that for actual traditional launches most of the time. There are exceptions, of course, but I fall into the same mistakes that I think a lot of people fall into. And it's funny, you'd think somebody that runs a YouTube channel and gives a lot of tips and tricks on game dev and marketing and all this stuff that I've learned, you'd think that they would be not susceptible to falling into the same holes, but that's not true. Like, one of the reasons why I talk about scope creep so much on the channel is because, like, that's one of my major problems. One of the reasons I talk about shiny object syndrome, same thing. It's one of my issues. You know, it's part of the creative game dev world, right? It's part of living in this world and trying to make games. And so when it came to Kickstarter, like, I treated it like, okay, I'm just gonna get these images up. I'm gonna get the game done. I'm gonna get the mat printed. We had to take a bunch of pictures, do a whole photo shoot for the game, because that's the other thing, is it's a physical game, right? So we got to take the pictures of the things, and you put the dice on the stuff, and you put them on the mat, and all that. And I'm just trying to make the page pretty. I'm trying to make that. I had to make a rules video. I won't go into the intricacies of physical games versus digital games. I feel like that'll make a whole nother video that we can do, and I'd love to do that video because I've learned a lot making physical games versus digital games, and I think that's some things that people are interested in. So if you are interested in that, definitely leave a comment down below, and I'll share my thoughts on that. But with Kickstarter, you got to do marketing for it, right? And you got to market it like it's a game launch, and that's a given. Most people know that going in. But there's a lot of work to be done there, right? Like, a lot of stuff, because here's the deal. Your first 48 hours on Kickstarter makes or breaks your success. And again, this is stuff that I've learned from I've emailed dozens and dozens of people. I've talked to friends of mine that have run Kickstarters, like hundreds of thousands of dollars Kickstarters. Multiple people that have made tens of thousands of dollars. I've talked to the director of games at Kickstarter. I've reached out to like everybody. I'm trying to get all my marketing ducks in a row to figure all this out. And it's like, still, we're not there yet. And we made the decision just a couple of days ago to delay the launch because we need a lead up marketing campaign. And I got so lost in the making of the Kickstarter stuff and the making of the game stuff and really showcasing the game, right, that I once again got lost in the marketing of it. And I realized now, because this happened with Photophobia too. This happened with my Steam game, my first Steam game. And it occurred to me that, like, the reason why solo dev is so much hard, and I'm working with Alyssa, my girlfriend, on this game. So she's the co-designer on this game, and she's been a tremendous help with all this stuff. But I've had a ton of community help with this too. But I think I spent a lot of my time trying to do stuff alone, do it all alone. And you reach a point where you physically cannot do it all, right? And even if you could have the time, and even if you could have the ability, so let's say you have marketing ability, you have game dev ability. I happen to be blessed with experience in both of those, right? Like, even if you have that, what you don't have is the ability to switch those hats as often as you need to, right? Like, even if you literally just have the time to just sit there and do that, which again is hard to come by. The older you get, the harder time, is to find, So I failed to realize, and I did this with Photophobia too, I failed to account for the mental and emotional toll that switching between game design and marketing takes on you. I failed to account for the difficulty, not in the tactical marketing, but in the emotional impact of marketing, right? So again, let me give you an example of this. Our follower count on Kickstarter. Can I show this? No, it's a blank screen. That's the wrong screen. Here, we're gonna go with this because you guys love me, and we don't edit videos here. So this is the Kickstarter page, and I've got 131 followers, which means 131 people have clicked that notify me on launch button, which means they will get notified when the Kickstarter goes live. And what bothered me about this was that I have posted about this on YouTube, 60,000 followers. I have posted about this on Discord with 6,000+ members. I have sent out an email about this with 12,000 emails, whatever's on my email list. We posted about it in board game groups. We posted about it everywhere. We've done playtests on Twitch. We've showed it off to my Twitch audience. Dozens and dozens of people constantly mention it all over the place. And this has reached like 100,000 people, and like 131 of them clicked the notify me on launch button, right? And so it's my marketing brain says, okay, you just got to keep at it, right? It's like, it's a numbers game. Just keep doing it, because people are gonna come. They're gonna understand it. They're gonna be like, okay, they're gonna be more interested. Like, I haven't posted a video about showing off the game. I haven't posted a real rules video on the channel. Just keep doing it. You're gonna get more and more people. Like, as you reveal more information about the game, you're gonna get more. But that's the marketing take on it, right? Like, that's a logical approach. The emotional impact of that, like doing all this work and just seeing like 100,000 people potentially saw this, and like 100 of them thought they were interested in it, is like, what the fuck? What the fuck do you do with that? Like, what do you do? So And to me, it's not even like discouragement. It's just like, do I know fucking anything? Like, it's just everything I know wrong. Has like the landscape changed about marketing? Is just everything crazy and wrong? Like, and then, you know, you kind of, the problem is you need the space to get the clarity, right? So like if you're in crunch mode, like I was this past week of like trying to get all this stuff done for Kickstarter, right? We're trying to get a video up. I wanted to get feedback from a few key people. So I'm trying to get the pitch video up to get that. And then we need the rules video done so people can play it. We need the tabletop simulator mod up so people can play it, all that stuff. There's just so much to do. And in all that, you don't get a second to just stop and breathe and say, okay, where are we at and why are we there? And this happened in the game launch too. I think it happens to a lot of people and we don't talk about this. It's like this overwhelm, right? That stops you from getting clarity. And it happens with game launches, it happens with Kickstarter launches, it happens with getting ready for events. And sometimes it's positive. Sometimes it's like it gives you those blinders to just say, fuck the world, I'm finishing this thing, right? But other times it's like you never stop to think like, okay, well maybe I'm doing something weird, or maybe I'm doing something out of order, or maybe like reassess your process, right? And I think that's what the delay helped us do, is like currently it's set to launch May 17th, which is about 6 weeks from now. It was supposed to launch today. But it's going to give us time to reassess and say, okay, what do we need to do? Well, it's clear to me now, given the past few days of like knowing that we were going to push it back, that I can just rest and chill out and actually play some video games, right? Because the other part of this is like, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I've been burnt out and I disappeared from YouTube for a long time. Like, I've got to have work-life balance, right? I got to learn to balance this thing called life with this thing that I love called fucking Murder Bunnies or whatever the fuck. Because Battle Barn is still in production too. Cypherpunk's around the corner. You know, like there's a lot of stuff here. And then, you know, I'm doing work for the Game Dev TV now. If you don't know, I'm doing a lot of different stuff. And you can get lost. You can get lost. And you cannot have the clarity to understand what you're doing wrong. And it's clear to me now that we needed a lead-up campaign. We needed way more information. More people needed to hear about the game more often, right? So it's not just a one thing like, hey, here's my thing. It's continual, constant, hey, here's another thing about my thing. Hey, here's another thing about my thing. Hey, here's why my thing is interesting to you. You know, it's that constant follow-up. And this is all basic marketing stuff, right? The epiphany here isn't that, oh my god, I should tell people about my game like every day for the last month. Oh my god, I should do marketing hype cycle the last 30 days. That's not the epiphany. The epiphany is that like you can get lost, and even with experience and even knowing that, you can fuck up. And you can take on the emotional toll of this stuff without knowing, even though there's logically it makes sense, you can do it all. Like I had the time and I had the expertise to do all of this stuff up until launch. Once again, I underestimated the emotional toll on it all. So, yeah, that's my message to you. If you're planning on launching a Kickstarter, you're planning on launching a game, like, especially if you're doing it solo, but small teams too. Like, think about how many hats you're wearing in the studio, right? Like, is it you? Are you the marketer / developer / programmer / game designer? And if that's it, like how often are you switching between those roles? And how often do you have time to just step back and chill and play some video games and like you disconnect and get some clarity? How often? For me, it hasn't been often enough. And this kind of gave me that time. So I hope that was helpful. I know I haven't talked about the game as much. I know a lot of people are interested in how this game works. It is a turn-based tactical strategy game that I will be revealing more information on. I have done playtests of this on my Twitch channel, which you can check out the link down below if you want to come hang out for playtests. We will be doing plenty in the next 6 weeks. We're doing them on Tabletop Simulator, which is a Steam game where we can basically simulate a physical game in digital space. If you want to check those out, I really appreciate it though if you could click the Kickstarter link down below and click the notify me on launch button. That would mean a lot to me. I've been trying to build that follower account, and it's been very discouraging how much work has went into that, and like, I wouldn't say discouraging. I would just say like, well, it's like, no, discouraging is accurate. It's, you know, it doesn't shut me down like it would have pre-Philophobia, but it's just like, oh man, like it makes you wonder, like, is your thing worth it, right? And like, I know it's not about the thing. You shouldn't take the personal and all that stuff, and I know that stuff, and I teach that stuff, and I share that stuff, but it's still hard to accept that stuff, right? So my name is Tim Roswick, and I feel very strongly about this game. This is one of the best games that I've ever designed, and I'm very, very clear on this. If you like turn-based, grid-based strategy games, this is the game for you, and I would really appreciate it if you click that button. But I will be in touch. We'll have more YouTube videos on game dev, and maybe physical game dev stuff too in the future. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking with the channel. I appreciate you very much. My name is Tim Roswick. See you in the next one. Bye.